Hello, Paul Ellis from the RIC Group. Going to give you a webinar on our warehouse management solution for MYOB EXO and focus on stock taking. The RIC Group was established in 2001 and we have customers all over the world, including Australia and New Zealand, North America, Asia, Middle East and Africa. The majority of our customers are in distribution and discrete manufacturing. We were recently a sponsor for the MYOB Enterprise Roadshow, and we work with the MYOB Enterprise partners throughout Australia and New Zealand. So why our warehouse management solution against the competitors? Firstly, our solution is a proven warehouse management solution with MYOB EXO and MYOB Advanced. We have new technology with MVC and C#. It's agnostic and will run on all environments. Not only can you bring your own device, but you can use devices such as rugged Android devices, such as CipherLab RS50, and you can also use tablet devices with a Bluetooth scanner. There are audits in real time, so anyone with access to the RIC Group Warehouse Management Solution screen will be able to see what is happening in real time in the warehouse. We use Power BI for business intelligence reports. It works with MYOB EXO and MYOB Advanced. We use a web service for integration with MYOB EXO and the API for MYOB Advanced. Our software is Australian made and Australian owned. Contact us at sales@thericgroup.com, visit our website or visit our YouTube channel for the recent YouTube channel videos. So let's get into it. So I've got our warehouse management solution open. You can see here that I'm just on the About page, and what I want to show you is stock taking. So firstly, if I go back to MYOB EXO, what I need to do is initialize a stock take. So by initializing the stock take, I can do certain things by selecting stock groups and all those type of scenarios, select bin codes, but I'm just going to select all products and my stock take has been initialized. So what I'm going to do here is just open up the stock take screen. We can see initialized at the time, and if I go into entry, we see here that the count quantities are currently 0. So if you're not using a warehouse management solution, a lot of customers currently with MYOB EXO would be doing an import from Excel spreadsheets, trying to consolidate the counts, having manual data entry, which leads to a lot of errors. And not only that, they're manually counting in the warehouse and recording that on a piece of paper. So by introducing our warehouse management solution for stock taking, not only will you have an accurate stock count, you will reduce the time for stock taking, and it will lead to 0 errors for manual input, because manual input doesn't exist anymore. And also it's going to help with an audit process, so you can see which user has counted where in the warehouse. So let's go to the stock taking scenario and go to stock take count. Now I can see we've got a document number 1 for the warehouse code 1, which is Sydney, and this logging currently is pointing to the Sydney warehouse, so I'm only going to see stock takes that have been initialized for Sydney. Going into it, you'll see here that you can create a section ID, and for our warehouse management solution, a section ID allows each person who's counting using the rugged device, such as a tablet or PDA device, to have their own section ID. Therefore, if I have a user who has their own section ID, I can see exactly what they've counted in their section. So if I have a warehouse and I've got 4 users, I might separate my warehouse count into 4 separate sections and then allow each user to count their section. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to put in a section ID, and I'm just going to put in a section ID of 47. So the new section ID has been created. You can see here 47 against the document 1, which is the Sydney warehouse. So you're going to see 2 things here. One where I can scan the item and the item will increment the count, and 2 where I can scan the bin location. Both the item and bin location allows me to do a manual search as well. So for MYOB EXO, what I want to do is put everything as a count against the bin location system bin. I could scan the bin locations that I'm counting it in as well, but as it's a consolidated count for MYOB EXO, it doesn't matter. I can put everything against what we call a system bin. Now the next part is the item. I could search, I could scan, and it will automatically increment. Remember, we have multipliers as well. So if I wanted to scan cartons or pallets, that is available as well. So let's just select an item. I'm going to say air, and you can see here that our search is dynamic, it's quick, and allows the user to put in their item. So you can see here air pressure 01 has been selected, and I'm going to count 25 and say add. So straight away in the audit we have who's counted it, what the count was, and where they've counted it. Really important to know what's happening in real time in your warehouse. So another user could be logged in and just simply looking at the audit process, and will have that information in front of them. So the next item, I might just say car and say search, and you can see here there's multiple items, and then I'm going to say 15 and add. So I'm manually adding the items at the moment. Of course, someone may have pre-counted a lot of these items that may be in their warehouse, but the majority of our customers will be scanning the product, and that might be the inner, the outer, or the pallet, and once they scan it, it will increment the count. If I had a batch number or a serial number, this can be scanned as well and captured using the warehouse management solution. So I've counted the 2 items here. I'm happy with my count. I've completed my section. Going back to the section ID, if I wanted to, I can go back into it. It's no problems at all. I might add items to that section ID. But what I want to do is send that count back to MYOB EXO. So going to stock taking, I can go into stock take process, and you'll see here that I now have my section available as well. If I click on 47, I could say get report, and our report is going to show you the 2 items counted. It's not going to show you all the items that haven't been counted. It's going to show you the 2 items that that section has counted. So quite clearly we can see what's been counted, what the quantity on hand is in MYOB EXO at that time, what the variance is, and so we've got here 2 items counted for a total count of 40. The next stage here is to send this back to MYOB EXO. Really easy to do. I can say send to ERP. It's going to say are you sure? I'm going to say okay. And so I've got 2 options here, and they need to be explained. One is if I click OK, anything I've sent before or any count that has got a count against an item will be overwritten. So if I've done a manual count in EXO, or I've put in a scenario there that I've just counted 1 item manually, I've then counted in section 47 using the device, it's going to be overwritten. If I click cancel, it's going to add to the existing quantities. So let's click OK. It's now been sent. Now we'll go back into MYOB EXO. We can go back into the entry screen, and you can see here air pressure gauge 25 count quantity, and also the car wash 01 15. So there's no manual entry there in having that count imported. The warehouse management solution does it automatically for you. So let's just say 0 count quantities, and there's nothing there. We'll save and exit, and I want to send it again. I can click on that, or I could click on all if I had different sections, and say send to ERP and click OK. It's been sent. I can go back into MYOB EXO. I can look at entry. It takes about 2 to 3 seconds to send that across. So there we go. Count 25 and 15. So once you send it, it takes 1 to 2 seconds to hit the MYOB EXO database, and then you've got it. So 25 and 15. Let's, for example, just put 5 here and say save and exit. So if one of the things I wanted to show you is if someone has manually counted this air pressure gauge and put 5, when we send the count from our system and say send to ERP, we can say OK. We can overwrite. So if there's any manual counts there, we could overwrite the count. So you can see here it's no longer 5, it's 25. The next option here is if someone has counted 5 and I want to add to that. So 5, and they've done a manual entry here. Let's go back into our warehouse management solution and say send to ERP. OK, and now I'm going to click cancel, and that's going to send it back and it's going to add it. So I'm expecting to see 30 now. There we go, 30. So this is 30 as well because we've got 15 and 15. So if that can help you with the scenario there, that if someone may have done a manual count and put some counts there and you want to add that, that is available to you as well. The majority of our customers are going to use only the warehouse management solution to count the items and then have that import back into MYOB EXO. So I'm just going to zero the count quantities, save and exit. And if I show you the process that if I had another user counting, let's call it section ID 48, and I'll choose another item, and I can say search for the bin code, just put it against system bin code. I'm going to choose 5. So you can see air pressure gauge, and I'll choose another item as well. So in this section I've counted 2 items. I've counted the air pressure gauge, and I've also counted the air filter as well. So when I count the item, by the way, I just want to show you in the audit, we've already captured the quantity on hand that's in Exonet. So we can show the user, once they've counted, what is currently in the system as well. So back to section ID, I've got my 2 sections. Let's go to the stock take process. So I could just report on one or the other. So you can see here the 2 reports here. The report for section 48. If I want to, 47 as well, I could choose that and have my count. So because I've counted it in 2 sections, let's have a look. So you can see we've consolidated the count when we're looking at section all for air pressure gauge. Noted that I counted in 25 in one section ID and 5 in another section ID. So we've consolidated it for 30 because that's what we want to push back into MYOB EXO. So let's have a look. I've got all, that's fine, I'm going to send all. If I just select one or the other, it's only going to send back to MYOB EXO that one section. So I'll select all and say send to ERP and click OK. So you could have multiple people with their own section IDs counting the items, and once it's counted, it consolidates the count in our warehouse management solution. You can report by section, you can report by all, and then you can go back into MYOB EXO, click on entry, and you'll have a look. 30 and 4 and 15 has come across. So it's a really efficient way to complete your stock taking process with MYOB EXO. Not only that, barcode scanning and scanning the items with the warehouse management solutions is going to help increase accuracy. And you've got an audit of what's happening in your stock take. You can go back to the counts and go back to the section IDs and see the count for each one. But also you've got your your report here where I can go to each section and see exactly what's been counted in that section ID. So everything is audited in our warehouse management solution, and as soon as it happens on our warehouse management solution, it's documented in the audit, so it's real time. So you can see what's happening in the stock taking process at that current time. It's browser based, it's agnostic, so it can run on tablet devices. You can see here I'm running it on a PC, and it will run on Android rugged devices with Google Chrome. So your warehouse will need to be on Wi-Fi when you're doing these processes. I hope that's gone through the stock take and you've now learnt how our warehouse management solution will do the stock take process with MYOB EXO. If you've got any questions, please send us an email at sales@thericgroup.com, and thank you for listening.